Hello, 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 everybody. Please let me know if you can hear me. All right, I think it tells me that I am good. Let me check. I think I'm good. I got you coming all sides, all ways. I do apologize, you guys. I had started going live, and Streamlabs, at least on my desktop, just like completely 100% crashed. So, I got nothing. It just completely went dead. And so I had to kind of, excuse me, figure out what was the best way to come to you. And I had to get everything all set up again and again. And oh, anyway, I'm here now. Hopefully some of you will come back and join me. I do apologize for the technical difficulties. So we're just going to go ahead and roll right through it. That way, we're not here a lot longer than we need to be. So again, I am Caron Bailey. I am your ATX independent demonstrator here with Stampin Up. I am the ATX Stampin' Lady here out of Austin, Texas. Tonight, we are working on a technique that's called the split front card technique, and I hope you enjoy this technique. What you will need for tonight's card making is you will need a card base that is 4¼ by 11, and you're going to score that at 5½. Okay, now you're going to have a top fold card, but we can also make this card with the other direction, the other orientation, which is a 5½ by 8½ scored at 4¼ You're also going to need a couple pieces of basic white cardstock that's 4¼ by 5½. You'll need 2 pieces of DSP coordinating prints. Coordinating prints, typically you can use from the same designer series paper pack. And those 2 will need to be 4¼ by 5½. You'll need 2 strips that is a half inch wide. The thickness should be about 6 or 7 inches. You're going to trim that down so the length of it doesn't matter, the width does, so about a ½ inch. Of course, you're going to need your stamp sets. You're going to need a ruler and your trimmer for this technique. All right, so the first thing we're going to end up doing tonight is creating our templates, right? So this is the template for our card. Tip and hint for this project is to make sure that you have, while you're creating this template, create one that you can keep and refer back to all the time, that you keep in your little technique folder, Rolodex. And then have this one with the measurements. We're gonna make one tonight, but you'll need to have one for tonight, okay? So I'm going to share with you how to create your template, okay? So grab your ruler. And the first thing you're going to want to do is measure on the right-hand side of your card. You're going to want to measure 3 inches down. Now, this is your basic white panel that is 4¼ by 5½. If you have a grid mat, grid mat or a grid sheet, you can definitely use your grid sheet. Now, this particular grid mat, the squares are a ½ inch wide. So if you use your grid mat, that's 1, 2, 3, right? From here to here's a half. That's 1, that's 2, and this is 3. So you go ahead and make your little mark here. And then you're going to do the same thing on the bottom. So you're going to score again, you're going to create a grid line that is 3 inches from left to right. Okay, so that's 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch. Okay, Now, from the top, you're going to you're going to need a 1/2 inch from the top, which will bring us here. And then you're going to make sure that there's a 1/4 inch in between this pot and your next. So then really at the 3/4 inch mark, spot, you're going to make a mark. You can use, I'm going to guesstimate, because the 1/4 inch is about halfway between each of the circles, okay? Or each of the grid lines. So here's my 3/4 inch line. Now, grab our straight edge. Doesn't have to be a ruler. Grab your straight edge. And we're going to draw a line. We're going to connect the dots from this mark, the 1/2 inch mark, to the 3 inch mark on the right-hand side. We're going to draw a connecting line. Okay? And then from the 3/4 inch line to the 3 inch line mark on the bottom right, we are going to draw another connecting dot. And that's all we're going to need, you guys. Okay? So when you create your template, you're going to want to make some markings on here so you know what you did. So what I would do if you're creating this as a template, now you can do this in pen or a marker, and I'm going to grab a marker so that you can remind yourself that this was 3 inches, right? From here to here was 3 inches. Okay. We had a little mark right here. That's a 1/2 inch. And then from here, it's another 1/4 inch or your 3/4 inch mark, okay? And that's your template, okay? So I've already done one that we're going to use for tonight, okay? So I'm going to save this so that whenever I want to create this technique again, I don't have to try to go find a video or anything like that. I already have my template made. So I've already done one that I'm going to use for tonight's project, okay? So for my first, I'm going to work with this is some designer series paper, and this is from the, I think it's called the Regency Park Suite. This is some retired designer series paper, Regency Park. And so I'm going to work with this for my my project tonight, okay? And I've pre-cut my designer series paper to 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to bring our trimmer in. Okay. And this is why we needed those marks. And we're going to cut these together. Now, the good thing about Stampin' Up! Trimmer, so you're going to need a nice blade, a nice sharp blade for this purpose. Again, you guys, I do apologize for coming on so late. I had some technical difficulties that I just had to address. All right, so I hope you can see that I'm lining this up in the track. I'm lining my lines that I created into the track, and I'm going to cut. Now, it's important that if you going to cut, that you should cut all of the papers together. That way, all of the cut lines are exactly the same. So even if you're off a little bit, everything should fit nicely together. Hold firmly. Now, when you're starting this technique, in my opinion, it's best not to start off the paper. Pick a spot on it. And here we go. All right? So we have this piece. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other line. And this is why you create at least 2 templates, okay? That way you always have what you create, what your guide was. Okay? So this was just like one of those what do we call them? Stack, cut, and shuffle kind of cards. So we're gonna remove these. And you can also keep these, right? So we're gonna have one card that's like this. Oops, nope. We're gonna have one card. Oops. That's this. And one card that's this. So you're able to create 2 cards right off the bat with just 2 sheets of your designer series paper. Okay. So gonna grab, for me, you can skip this step. I can't because I don't do anything in a straight line. So I need to have this stable piece of cardstock to assist me with what I'm doing next. So what we're going to end up doing is we are going to, did I not trim this to, hold on. Hold on. Oh, that's right. See? And we're going to put these right back in place because we want to make sure that everything fits back exactly where it needs to be. Okay. So we're going to start with this one. And I'm going to recommend that you use liquid glue for this purpose, right? And the only reason I'm going to recommend that you use liquid glue is because it gives you that little extra wiggle room in order to be able to align things properly where you need them to be. And the beauty of cutting it this way is that you have the angles and the lines, and then that way everything follows where it needs to go. So we know that this is going to need to line up on the bottom and on the side, like that. Because that's where that's going to go. Okay. Then the next thing we're going to grab is I'm going to grab my little 1/2 inch marks. And I'm using Starry Sky for this. Starry Sky is going to be the base. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add just a little bit of a border. And I'm going to put the adhesive. Tip number 1 is put your adhesive on your paper, not on the strip. Okay. Oops. And I'm just going to add my adhesive, my designer series paper. Oops. Give myself a little bit of a border. Try to make sure it's even. Okay. That's one. And then do the same with the other. And we know we want this to be here. And so we are just going to line this up. Oops. Oops, I just made a big old mess here. Line it up. Make sure we have a good size border on each. There we go. It's relatively even. And this is why I have to have liquid glue. I'm just telling you. It is my lifesaver. All right, so now we can go ahead and we can trim things off, okay? To trim it, you kind of just align right next, put your scissors right to the butt and snip. Okay, then you're going to do the same thing. Align it directly to the edge. Keep the blades flush and trim. And there you have a perfect mat. Okay, do the same thing on the other side. To make sure that you have a perfect mat. Outstanding. There we go. I'm looking for my little pin here. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is, because I want this to be offset just a little bit. Now, keeping it simple, we can just go right ahead and mat this, just lay this one on top of the other. That's our simple, and it'll still work. But I want to give this a little bit more dimension. So I'm actually going to put dimensional on this card. Okay. I am going to use my dimensionals. Well, let's do the first one. We're going to do the first one without any. Okay. Okay. And then again, remember, this is actually supposed to line perfectly because they're both 4 by 5 1/4. So they should align perfectly. There you go. And then we're going to do this to the other side. If you're joining me a little bit, I had a little bit of technical challenges earlier today, so I had to restart the video. So I'm glad that you came back and were able to join and create using the split front technique. Okay. Hence, I love me some liquid glue. All right, so your card front is pretty finished on this one, you guys. Take a look at it. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the other one. Did I cut? I don't know. We might have to trim some more. So I'm going to grab this 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did before. That way, we'll make 2 cards in the space of the time to create. All right, now remember, line up. And there you go. Now you could even do this and not even put the border on there, but that wouldn't look as fun, right? So you have, now you're stepping it up just a little bit. And I need him to trim. I was going to trade that out and do a black, but I think I'm just going to keep the starry sky. Okay. Sorry about that, you guys. All right. Let's grab our trimmer again. We're going to trim a piece that's a 1/2 inch. And this is going to be a 1/2 inch by 11. And let's just get 2 of them. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing that we did before. Lining this up. Okay. Okay. Now, how big a border you're wanting to do on your card, that's completely up to you. But the beauty of using liquid glue in this technique is that you have the option to set up your strip to play with it and let it be where you need for it to be. Okay, let that dry for just a little bit. Yeah, we can actually use the both of them. See, I thought we could have, I thought I was going to be able to use one strip. I was right. So all I'm going to do is trim this off. Make sure it's flush that way. And make sure it's flush that way. So we have our border. And let this dry just a tad. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I messed up. That's what it was. I put too much glue on there, y'all. Y'all watched me do that too. Little helpers you are. So I just need the adhesive on the edge, okay? That's what happens when you forget what you're doing. Okay? Then we're just going to align this right on here. Making sure you have generally the same size border from end to end. And then trim the excess. And again, when you're trimming the excess, you keep your snips flush and trim. Flush and trim. Awesome. Now on this one, I'm actually going to use dimensionals. Okay? Because I want this to be a little fun. A little different. To add a little texture. So all I'm doing at this point is adding a little bit of dimensionals. That's it. Okay? So we're going to have a little bit of oomph there. Love it. And do the same thing on the other. Gonna do a long piece here. I didn't cut off enough from my roll. Okay, so now that we have these on, let's go ahead and align them. Now we get to decorating, you guys, because we've done the quote unquote hard part. All right, let's grab our take your pick tool. Remove the adhesive backing. And I might have to put this out of frame just a tad to make sure that I'm able to line it up perfectly. When I don't work with liquid glue, I'm very nervous. I'm hoping that I'm able to get things aligned right. Oh, very nervous about it. Very nerve-wracking. All right. Then we're going to do the same thing. Let me turn this around so that I can see what I'm doing. And there we have that. All right, so you say to me, well, you have that ugly little gap right here. Well, this is where we're gonna do some fun stamping, y'all. All right. Gonna grab a piece of basic white. And this is from the Petal Park stamp set bundle. It comes with the Petal Park Builder Punch. And this is a 2-step stamp, okay? And as long as I've owned this, I've used the paper, but I've not ever used the stamps. So with 2-step stamping, you have one that is more detailed and you have one that is more of the fill color. When I do this project, I always like to stamp with the fill first and the detailed first, and the detailed is your darker image, okay? And then the other thing that I went ahead and I did was, knowing how the stamp punches, I aligned my stamps already. Well, that's not right. Oh, I aligned it to this. So what I had ended up doing is I put them on there and I picked them up with the block in that manner. Okay? And I just did the same here. So what color do I want my flowers to be? Well, I'm going to outline them. This is the fill. Nope, this is the color. This is the outline. I want my outline to be in I'm going to go with shaded spruce. No, garden green. It's my outline. Well, maybe shaded spruce. I'm going to go with garden green. I'm still trying to decide, y'all. Let's go for it. Let's go with garden green. We can change it if we like. And I'm going to be cognizant of the way that I stamped it. Okay? Because this is how it's going to get punched out. Okay? Let's do one in shaded spruce just to make sure that I'm not off in my color. And then I'm just going to take it, turn it around, do the same thing on the opposite side with the shaded spruce. Yeah, I just think that's garden green. But sometimes you don't know until you stamp it out, right? Okay. Yeah. Seems a little light to me. And then my flower, I'm gonna go with petal pink. Or maybe should do flirty flamingo. I'm gonna do one in Flirty and one in Petal Pink. So the Petal Pink I'm gonna do with the Shaded Spruce. Like so. Then we just need to make sure we line and then stamp. And just like that, we have colored our image. I love me a two-step stamp, y'all. I do. Absolutely love it. Then we're going to go do the other. With the Flirty Flamingo. So we line things up. And then here we go. There we go. Perfectly colored florals. And then if we wanted to, if you can see that this would line up perfectly in our punch because that's how we stamped it the way it needed to be right from the get-go, right? All right. So, just adding a little bit of sparkle and shine with the Wink of Stella. Call that a day. Wonder why that didn't set. All right. Now we're just going to punch these out. And we're going to use them to fill our little gap there. And I'm just trying to line this up. So if it's out of frame, I do apologize. Trying to make sure I can line it up properly. I think that's about right there. That's close. And then we're going to do it again on this side. It's all about trying to make sure things line up, y'all. So you can pick one flower, make sure that it is lined up, because if that's lined up, everything else will be lined up, okay? All right, let's put this aside. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these, and I think we're just going to put these guys right on here. Now, do we want to use that one there or this one? I think I'm going to use the darker color here. So let me bring in my glue dots. And we're going to grab one and lay it on. No, it doesn't help. Hold on, y'all. I lost it. There it is, right there. Okay. And then, we want this guy to be right here, like so. So it's just a matter of aligning things now to where we want them to be. Okay, that's one. I'm going to add the second. Hmm. And we're going to put this one about here. Then we're going to add a dimensional or a pop dot or whatever you want to call it right to the center of that one. Well, if this is your first time in the craft room with Caron, thank you for joining me. I am your host. I am Caron Bailey. Thanks again for joining me. Like I just said, I hope you'll join me again on Thursday. Hopefully, I will have conquered all of my automation challenges, which doesn't seem like the thing for me. Let me wait on that one. And the reason I'm gonna wait is I want to see. So my card base again is Starry Sky, and it is 4¼ by 11, scored at 5½. And the reason I'm going to add this on here is because I want to make sure that when I add my big flower, if I have any overhang as far as the flower is that doesn't completely go off of the card base. Okay, so for this one, because we didn't pop up the top, I'm gonna add dimensionals or some foam sheets to here. The more you try, sometimes in my case, I find, I mean, I was going live and I looked up and it said, Streamlabs has crashed. I'm like, what? I was in the middle of the live. Not even the middle, I had just started. So again, for those of you that came back and watched and are watching, I really appreciate you coming back and being true and loyal and wanting to learn the split front card technique tonight. Okay. And again, we do that because we want to make sure that when we add this guy now, I don't have that much room to hang over. So I need to be very cognizant of where I'm putting that. I think I want to move this guy. Oh, geez. That's okay. Right? Because we have this guy. And there we go. Okay. Okay. Perfect. All it's missing now is a sentiment, and I'm gonna put one on later because I don't know what I want this card to be, either one of them. But I just wanted to play with the technique, and there we go. I'm gonna put a gem right in here. Absolutely. If I can find what I'm looking for. This is our opal rounds. I'm just going to put one of them right here, like so. And I'm going to put a little one right. Okay, come on. Right there. Okay. So here you go. This card is pretty much finished. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. And when I'm ready for a sentiment, I'll just put a sentiment on it and it will be a finished card. Let's grab a piece of cardstock. I'm going to make this one the focus inside. One of the easiest ways to decorate the inside of your card is really just to add a strip of designer series paper. Now, when you trim your cardstock down to 4 by 5 1/4, you'll have a piece that is about an inch. That's about an inch by 4, and it's just easy. There's no waste. It's as simple as that. There is absolutely no waste. And then the remaining piece that's about 2 inches, you can use that to design your envelope. One piece of 6 by 6 designer series paper will do it all. Okay. So here's number 1. Okay. Now number 2, pretty much going to be the same kind of deal. We're going to put one right here. The most important thing is kind of covering that little gap right there, right? That we have. So we got to cover that somehow, right? Make sure you can see. So we're going to grab a glue dot again. And we know where we want this to be. So I'm going to make sure that the point of the flower, yeah, it's like so. Then the next big one, I'm going to just adjust just a little bit this time. Put that one right there. And we're going to put this guy like so. And our big flower, we're going to put like that. I don't think I'm going to pop this up because remember these 2 panels are also on foam sheet. So I may just put this guy like so. What do you think? Should we pop it up? Should we pop it up or let it sit just like that? Oh, guys, you guys were talking to me. I did not see anything. Thank you guys so much. Linda, I love you. I love you. I did not even see any messages. Now I'm seeing them. Oh, the darker looks better. Oh, I love only with using the Stamparatus tool, which is now retired. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Linda, I do apologize. Thank you for sticking with me. I really, really appreciate you tonight. All right, so on this one, I think I'm going to leave it just like this. Again, only because the panels are popped up with dimensionals. And remember, this still has to go through the mail. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And the more foam sheets that you do use, it might increase your shipping cost later on. So just keep things like that in mind when when you're deciding on whether or not you're wanting to use dimensionals and how much exactly dimensionals you are going to use on your project. Okay, so here we go again. This card is basically finished, you guys. All we need to do now is put it on the card base. Now, remember the first we did was we did this in a top fold, like so. But now we're going to do it on a book fold. And you can see that it works both ways, okay? So it's not one of those designs that you have to only do it with a top fold or the other way around. You can do it with either, okay? Let me grab this. And as always, you guys, when you have created your cards, pop on over to my Facebook page. Look for the event that the split front card design event, and upload your project with me. Share with me what you have created. And again, for another tip, always, when you have a punch, always make sure that you have a template. It keeps you on the straight and narrow. I'm looking for something and I don't know what I'm looking for. Okay, so now the other thing we can do with this card, this is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. If I wanted to, and I'm thinking about it, we could mat this with another piece that's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, just to give it a little bit more of an edge. Now, I don't want to do that, especially, well, I don't think I want to do it with black, that's for sure. But you can do it with whatever color as another element to your process, okay? I don't know. We've got maybe a white. What color would I mat this with? It has to be something light, I think, if I was to mat it again. Do you see the light? It makes it look a little bit different. Or maybe even a piece of vellum. But that's an option for you, okay? But we're going to keep it very simple tonight. And I'm just going to put this right on the card base as is. Okay. There we go. And then I just saw my gems. So one thing about creating with Caron, she does make a mess, y'all. I'm just saying. She does. She makes a big mess. Grab another piece of basic white. Get the inside of our card done. Pop it up. Okay. Linda says pop it up, so we'll pop it up again. Okay. Get the inside of the card. I've had so many technological challenges in the last couple of days. I have a my usual laptop that I use. Um, all of a sudden, and it's brand new, basically. I got it in November. Um, it just, all of a sudden, I couldn't see anything on the screen. It was on, you could hear it running, but there was no visual on it. So I call them, and it's this whole process for me to get it back to them for them to fix it. And so I'm like, wait a minute, I have to go live. And so when I said I got to go live, I got to go break out the older machine, which is what I'm using. And the older machine is one that was I think it just, the memory on it was just shot. And so there's a lot of lag going on. I'm trying to lift this up because I think this is what Linda mentioned. I think I'm gonna leave it alone because I think if I mess with it, I'm gonna destroy it, and I don't want to do that. So Wink Stella to the rescue. Add a little bit more. Okay. And I'm looking for some gems over here. I'm on the verge of showing y'all my mess, y'all. There's a reason why those of us that do videos, we keep you focused on the desk. If you saw the rest of it, you'd be like, oh my goodness. You would be amazed. All right, so we're just gonna add some gems. And in this one, I'm gonna add 3. Okay. So I can't put that one there. So I'm gonna put one right here from my rule of 3. All right, guys, so here we created these 2 cards. Now, this was just one cut. Now, what do you think about those? I think these are beautiful, but my next color pattern was this one. So you have a couple of options, right, in how you want to do this. You can create, this is why I told you to create a second template. That way you always have what you need. Now, you can do a couple of things here. All of the glue out of the container. Out of this container or the original container. If you have it, you're going to have to, the only thing I could tell you with that is that you just have to let it, have like a funnel or whatever it is, and just leave it upside down. And it'll drain itself out. So here's what you can do. You can keep your parts and pieces. You can keep your parts and pieces, and then make sure that it's your 4 by 5 1/4. And you guys use some paper clips, right? And so you'll know, paper clip this stuff right back into place. Right? And then put this back in your trimmer and cut. Right? You don't even have to do it all at once. So you trim this. Okay, make sure you paper clip it on so it doesn't separate and move. And so you'll be left with everything from here down, right? So then this part should line up very easily, right? And then you trim that off, and so on and so forth. So you can either do it this way, or you create your template And you keep one like this all the time. Okay, keep it in your little Rolodex of templates. So this is going to be my next print. This is the Stippled Roses designer series paper. This paper was from the Celebration catalog, so this is free with a $50 purchase, and it coordinates again with the Stippled Roses stamp set from the mini catalog. So you go ahead and you just cut this, and then you assemble this way, and then you design your card how you're going to design your card. So you guys, this is the split front card technique. Simple. What do you think? Will you be trying this too? All right, guys, join me on Thursday. Thursday we do Case the Catalog. So it's Chat and Caddy. I call it Chat and Caddy because I be chatting and we be casing the caddy. So we chat and caddy. And so we are working on Bold Blooms, the Bold Blooms, no, Bold Bouquet bundle out of the annual catalog. Okay, that is the stamp set that we will be working from. Let me grab my catalog. And it is on page Bold Bouquet. It's on page 99 of the annual catalog. And then for the rest of the month, the rest of February, we are going to be casing the Celebration catalog. Why? Because Celebration ends February 29th, and I want you to be able to see all of the goodies in the Celebration catalog. So here's our Bold Bouquet. And this is the stamp set and projects that we will be creating on Thursday. Definitely going to work on this one and maybe this one. Okay. Mess comes with fun. I make a lot of mess and I'd be having a lot of fun then, huh, Linda? Excuse me. All right, guys, that's it for us tonight. I hope you enjoyed the split card front technique. And again, like I said, I hope you will be trying it. If you are new to my channel, thank you so much for visiting. I know you have your choice of what you could be doing on a Tuesday night that does not include spending time with me. So I am so excited and happy that you decided to spend some of it with me. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. I would love to have you join me and follow me as I create all these amazing projects and start all of these techniques with you. Okay? On that note, you guys, thanks for joining and happy stamping. Bye-bye.